Hello. We are live.
Hey, we are live. Listen, happy pre-Mother's Day to everybody.
Yes.
Miss Rose was just sitting here, Anna, telling me about she got 4 children and 7 grandchildren. She was, listen, to be only 20 and have all 4 children and 7 grandchildren, Miss Rose, you look very good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
She only 20, girl. Miss
No,
Rose, you
I'm
look so short.
21.
Let me
I'm
see. Maybe I should sit
21.
back too.
I'm old enough to drink wine and buy bullets,
Are
so
you?
I'm good.
Make sure you adjust your microphone up to you so they can hear you. Can everybody hear her okay? Let me know if you can hear everybody okay. Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Let me go ahead and share it out while Anna introduces everybody.
I'm over here trying to do the same thing. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Oh, God is good. What a long week. Mother's Day weekend. Yes, Mother's Day weekend. This is a weekend for us. Even if you don't have a child, the fact that you might have been in someone's child's life, you can still celebrate. So I am grateful for uh, being, God has blessed me to be a mother of 2 daughters. But most of all, just to celebrate. Some of us, our mothers have passed away like me. It will be hard on Sunday for me, but God is still good and God will cover me through this. But today we have, oh, wow. Can't even talk right. We're going to have a good show today.
I'm
Yes, we
excited.
Positive,
So
good
excited.
show because Sister Circle is about building us as women together.
That's right.
Regardless of our backgrounds, regardless of our opinions, regardless of anything that is different about us, that's the best thing because when you're not the same, you grow. And so I'm happy that today we have the great from Ward 1, Rose Morrow in the house.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
First
Thank
ward
you.
candidate.
Thank you.
The councilwoman.
Yes.
Councilwoman. So yes, I'm excited to be here with you, Miss Rose.
Thank you.
So thank you for joining Anna
You're
and I.
welcome.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to
I
have you
love
in the
this
studio.
show.
Oh, well, thank you, darling.
You
Thank
get
you.
more news from you than you get from well, I'm not gonna say no stations,
Hmm.
but other media sources.
Oh, well,
You
thank you.
guys tell the truth. I have learned so much since I've been back in Michigan watching your show. I go
Oh,
back and watch your former videos. And
wow.
so that's how we learn. You just don't know the knowledge you give the community.
Mm.
Well, thank you.
I take what you put out and
Me
then
and
I
Mickey,
take it.
because we're a
Yup,
team.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You
Okay,
and
I
Mickey.
can't
I know
leave a
Mickey.
partner out.
Yeah, I know
Right.
Mickey disappeared, but
Right.
Mickey and you put out in the community. I go back and watch your old videos. And then I take that and I do more research. And then when you're doing your show, when you say you need this information, I start calling. I'll get off and get back on.
Yep, you do.
And
You
then we
do
keep
that.
building on that. And that's how we rebuild our community.
See,
So we're going to get there.
we gonna get there. You right. We gonna get there.
Positivity and prayer.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
going back on that, the fact is, A10 gave me a chance. They opened it up and asked, could someone, take over? Because every other people have things to do and they couldn't be here for Sister Circle. And so the door was open. And I said, hey, I would love to be on there. And then me and Wyntis connected.
Mhm.
No favoritism, no nothing. Just two people that are actually in the same age bracket. I'm older. I'm 48 now, unfortunately.
Yeah,
She's
she's older than me now.
47. But God is good because we have our own opinions, we have our own ideas, and we collaborate. And
Yeah.
the other thing that's really huge is that as women, and then women as Black and brown women, because we tend not to be in the same rooms. I don't know how it is in Flint, but I know in DC we have a huge population of the Latinos and the Hispanics. So I don't know how it is in Flint, but here in DC, I'm always working on how to connect Black and brown people together. Nothing against the other cultures or the other races. It's just we tend to go through the same things. So collaboration is really good where we can talk
Yes.
about building together because we technically, if you conscious like I am, we are the same people.
Absolutely.
I always say the same slave ship. They came from Nigeria, the ports, dropped off in the Caribbean, and then came up the coast. So, but not everyone is there. So I try not to jump in there with people because everybody has a right to their opinion.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So tonight, yes, we know you are running for Ward 1, but tonight that's not what we're here for.
Right.
Nope,
We're
not
here
at all.
for, we're not here for that. We are here to talk about women, women and their roles, and women in leadership, and women, what they do in the community, because that's what this is about.
Yes.
What are you doing in the community? So I do have some questions for you, Rose. But I'm gonna let Wyntis go next, and then I can ask my first question after that.
Okay.
Well, we can jump right into the questions. Just basically, I ditto what Anna's saying, and it's a pleasure to have you here. It's a pleasure to, we're trying to do, expand on this sister circle with women in the community, and having you here, and I see you like I physically can put my hands on you, and I see you in the community, and I see your dedication and your hard work, like. Since you've been back, you've been nonstop. And I remember the very first day that you came up to me in council and you like, hi, I'm Miss Rose, and I'm going, so happy to meet you.
I was so excited
and
to meet you.
What did you did something for us? You did something for A10. I don't know if it was a donation or if you bought us a tripod, but you did something.
I pay my rent every month. I pay my what?
Well, this was the very first time.
Oh no, I gave you some sunglasses.
You gave us something.
The first thing I did was, you guys had mentioned that the Wi-Fi was kind of like acting up, and you needed a box or something. So I was like, hey, we got to get this started. So I started, and then everybody else started apparently. And the next thing you know, you guys posted a picture. You were at the store. And then every month I try and make sure, I'm not rich, but I'm gonna make sure, because like I said, I've learned so much from you guys. We have to keep you in operation.
Thank you so much. We appreciate
it's not going to kill me to give you $20 or $25 a month. And I make that joke to try and pay it before the 3rd, so I won't get that 10% late fee penalty. But I'll put, when I text Mickey, or ATN, I'll put on there whatever the money is, rent, Wi-Fi, utilities, and equipment, or whatever I put on there. And then I'll put LOL, I said, we got to keep doing that, because we got to work and build, not you guys build us up. We have to also do our part to build you up, because I know I learn more when the weather or whatever is going on. I'll turn to 18 and see what you guys have put in your posts, opposed to turning on the TV, because it's never accurate. So I really don't look at it. But no, I enjoy it.
Well, that's my introduction. That's how I met Miss Rose, and I've always seen her. And Anna, you remember when I said when they had the interviews going for Ward 1 candidate. And I told people, I said, make sure you pay attention to who sticks around and who leaves. You've been steadfast in doing the work of the community.
And see, that was the thing too. A lot of people, I'm not gonna say a lot of people, some people made a comment about my cleanup projects or whatever in the community, but they don't realize, just because you didn't know about something, that doesn't mean I wasn't doing anything. Because I came back here, I was born and raised in Flint, graduated from Flint Northern. I left. Well, actually, I didn't technically leave Michigan.
Because I
know you're not a Northern.
No, but that's okay. That's all right, baby. I understand. Big Red, I understand. Big Red, I understand.
I mean, I'm so sad. Every time they set it on fire, I'm like, damn, one of these days they're going to do it. They can't bring it back. And that was the last school that was built. That's the sad part. But I'm not going to hold it against you either. You didn't graduate from
No, I'm a knight. Southwestern Academy knight.
But no.
Shut up, Mickey. This is the circle.
We're not going to get no war going. We all love each other in the city of Flint. Oh, you did?
Okay, that's why he's special.
Oh, she said you special.
Yeah, he had them challenging classes. But let's just get right into it. Ada, go ahead with your first question, and then I can piggyback off of you, baby.
Okay. So my first question to you. So I have a couple questions. And it's just really like icebreakers, like really getting to know who Rose Morrow is. The community might know you, but like 810 is for everyone. You don't have to live in Flint, but you have to love Flint.
Yes.
And you have to make sure that the people in Flint voices are heard first.
Yes.
That's my whole thing. I don't need to be talking. I want Flint to talk. But so these questions is just basically, who is Rose Morrow in the community? So my first question to you is, who inspired you to be a leader and why?
Oh wow, that's a few people. Um, there was a captain that taught me everything. Captain Henry Wallace at um, not Pontiac, Oakland County Sheriff Department. When I worked for the DNR, when I first started my law enforcement career working for the state of Michigan, I was a DNR officer, a park ranger. And I started off at Seven Lakes, and I got sent to Pontiac. Then Brighton Recreation Area was my last park assignment. But while I was there, that whole time, he guided me on helping the community. And ever since I was a child, I like helping the community. My aunt, Roxanne Reynolds, rest her soul, she was a police officer for Flint Police Department for over 30 years. They called her Rocky. She was the person that inspired me to be a police officer. When I would see her
Wow.
uniform, she passed away in 2018. And my Uncle Bubby, Uncle James Reynolds, he worked dispatch for 30 something years for Flint Police Department. They called him Bubby.
Let me put a pin in it right there. I
Okay.
know this is tricky,
Okay.
but you got to look into the camera for her to see
Okay.
us, because we looking up here
Yeah,
and it
okay.
looking like we're
And I'm
looking away
looking
from
at
her. But it's
her.
all right to turn,
Okay.
because you know the
Okay.
comments are up there. We just couldn't put the TV over there because of
Okay,
electrical
and
stuff.
I'm
but-
watching her on the
Right.
screen like I'm talking
right,
to
and
her.
she looking
I'm
trying to.
sorry.
I forgot to tell you that.
We all crooked. We going like this.
Get
Because
together.
I noticed that too when I was looking up. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
well,
you could just look straight ahead.
Yeah, you can look right
Okay.
in the camera,
Well,
but I
thank
understand if
you.
you want to look at the comments. I get it. I
Oh
get it.
no! I'm looking at her.
Okay, well,
So
you
okay,
can-
well I
yeah.
didn't know. I'm sorry, Anna.
Mm.
But no, my uncle James Reynolds works for Flint Police Department dispatch for over 30 years and retired. And like I said, my aunt did 30 something years. She was called Rocky, and she worked with Metcalf and a lot of them. That's how Metcalf knew me. And
Oh,
then-
really?
yeah. 'Cause
Okay.
Metcalf's wife also worked dispatch with my aunt.
Really?
And
Okay.
Metcalf's been around for a long time. So they kind of like remembered me from the DNR.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my aunt inspired me to be a police officer. And then in regards to leadership, I have to give that credit also to Captain Henry Wallace, who's retired and was one of the first African American officers, individuals hired with Oakland County Sheriff Department. And the new sheriffs, he was up under McNichols, and then Bouchard came, the present sheriff, who's been around for a while too. But when the new ones came in, they tried to get out the old ones, but they were protected because they were grandfathered in.
Right.
But he taught me as far as dealing with the public. He was kind of mad when I switched from the DNR. Well, not mad, but upset because he wanted me to stay with the DNR because he said it's like I should have been a social worker.
Mm-hmm.
But even as a police officer, sheriff deputy, you're still a social worker. You have to have that compassion
Yes, you
to
do.
help. And I'm not gonna lie, when I came back in 2021, I would come to visit because I have 4 older kids. Well, I have 4 older kids and 7 grandkids. And my 3 oldest kids and my grandkids live here and all of my family members.
Mhm.
But when I first came back and actually purchased my old childhood home, it's like I started crying. I'm not gonna lie, because all this blight, burned out houses,
Mhm.
and trash, and just the whole situation financially with the city. In the 80s and 90s, it did not look like this.
Mhm.
So that's why I started heading, okay, I've always told my officers, I left as a lieutenant with Department of Corrections, and I used to teach a lot, and I taught in the police academy. And I said, if you're going to complain about something, don't complain to me, well, me personally, about anything if you're not willing to step in and do something about it. So if you don't like the policies and procedures, you need to get promoted so you can help write policies and procedures.
Absolutely.
So my thing was, when I came back, I already know from being observant, certain people on the council, the city officials or whatever, I feel like they could do more. But I'm going to do my part. I'm not going to be one to just sit there and complain. I said, as far as the blight and the garbage and all of that, I said, I'll clean it up. I'll start arranging cleanup projects. I've been doing that since I've been back. Trying to go up to Hasselbring and do activities and stuff with the seniors. Encourage other people to do more. Started help cutting the seniors' grass and cleaning up the neighborhood. Now the neighbors are taking pride in the neighborhood.
And I commend you for the opportunity that you gave a lot of seniors, or just people, period, helping them fill out that paperwork.
Yeah,
I commend you for that, because that was a lot.
Well, there's another. It was, and then some people got upset because when they closed it, But people got to remember, I'm just a volunteer resident like them. I can't even apply because, I can't even apply for the program, but it's $15,000 that's going to the residents. They don't have to pay back. They don't advertise it. And nothing against knocking the individuals that are doing the programs. They just don't advertise. They can only help so many people. But my thing is that
Hey.
you have to help. You have to help everybody. So I'll advertise it. Hasselbrain Community Center was nice enough to let me use their facility twice for the residents to come up and so we can make copies because that's expensive.
Right.
The seniors and a lot of people didn't know how to complete the applications. So I said, well, come up. I'll pick 3 days and I'll stay there all day. The one day I started off at Mott Park, it was over 100 and something people each day at Hasselbrain. They passed out applications. And then Mott Park neighborhood and rec, they let me use their facility to meet people over there. We just didn't have a copy machine. But then Miss Beverly at Hasselbrain said, send them to me for the copies and we'll help get the copies.
That's amazing.
It was 100 something people there, but it went over really well.
Mickey pointing at the screen and said, yes, hello, this is from Casey. I'm late coming in, but Miss Rose helped my aunt apply and I appreciate that so much.
Oh, you are so welcome. I'm still helping everybody now with finding contractors. So we're going to get it done. This is how we rebuild the city. We got to work together.
And I appreciate Ana because Ana, me and Ana talked before, I ever asked her about Sister Circle. We just connected, we vibe. And she said, you know what, who would be a good person to have on? I'm like, who, Ana, who? She was like, Miss Rose. And so, so Ana, why was it important for you to have Miss Rose on? What was your whole connection there as you look at things from the, from an outside point of view?
You're gonna be shocked. Okay. I never had a real good experience with the blue people, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I understand.
A lot of issues. And so I have family members that are blue people. And you know what I mean by I'm saying blue people.
I understand.
And so when I heard you talk a couple times about your background, I thought about it. I said, how can we have someone come on that represents the good side of being blue? And it is for the people. And I was watching your comments way before Mays passed away. Eric passed away. I would see you come on and you were right. And I was like, man, she's really community. Right. She's not in here judging. She's not in here putting, sometimes when we're in positions, especially with authority, we can be judgmental, very dictatorship. But I didn't feel that from you. I felt community in you. And I was like, what a great way to have a Black woman who has served on the blue team and still wants to help the ones that we throw away every day. Right. That is huge. Yeah. And you live in a community in Ward 1 where I feel, me looking from the outside, that has been left behind.
Yes.
And it wasn't until Mays passed away, and they might have put this new person in, nothing against him. I don't know him personally. But it just seems to me that things are moving fast, but are they moving fast for the great of the people, or are they moving fast because it's just to show that things can be done if they like you? That is just my opinion.
Actually, my opinion on that is, one, Councilman Mays had already been working. This is my personal opinion, not A10's, not anybody else's. I have been watching, like I said, I'm very observant. Councilman Mays had already had a lot of this stuff in play. But I feel like because of the administration and other council members, they were stopping everything that he was trying to do. Every which way he turned, they were trying. But not once did he ever give up.
No.
And that's the reason why. Now I feel like it was little vendetta, victim. How can I say this? They just, because they didn't care for Councilman Mays, they kept this going. And now but far as the homes being torn down, all of that, I watched your show earlier. That stuff was already in play, and Councilman Mays had already had that stuff in play. It's just now happening because funding came through with Land Bank. Like they said, they have to tear those houses down. They have to use Flint funding first. that stuff was already in play. Councilman Mays already was doing that.
And he said
So
that he would speak sometimes from his chair. Like I
yeah,
remember the council meeting where he said, "Thank you, Harletta.
yes,
Thank you, Arnold, for sending out those dumpsters. Thank you for
hmm
answering the call because like Anna's saying and like you pointed out, the stuff was already in play,
right.
but he was getting blocked.
Yes, because he was the councilman and certain people did not care for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's all what that is about. Before Councilman Mays got suspended, I had a talk with him and I told him, "Ooh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Uh,
that's okay. After you
I turned
scared
it
me.
off." But I had turned it off. I thought I did anyways. But before Councilman Mays had got suspended, I had a talk with him. I said, "I'm gonna be totally honest with you, and I hope I can say this. City don't give a shit about us." I said, "They don't care about the first ward. So why don't we do this? Let's make a city within the city. You are now Mayor B. Mays, Mayor Eric B. Mays, and I'm your deputy chief. I just work for free." I said, "We have all these residents that would be soldiers for you and love you."
Right.
I said, "We just have to plan everything out for 2024, as far as the cleanup projects, writing grants, all of that stuff was already in play." Unfortunately, he passed away. And I was like, okay, I would never, ever, ever, try and, I could never, ever fill his shoes. Nobody can.
Right.
But what we can do is, and this is what I do from talking to him when he told me about the story, how he helped open up Hasselbrain when they had closed it up. It was padlocks and chains on the door. He told me some stories, and I'm like, okay, but he had so much knowledge to share. So what I have been doing prior to him passing away, and since he passed away, I watch his old videos, the old city council meetings, the TikTok videos, YouTube meetings he's had about the water crisis and everything. There is so much knowledge in those videos and meetings. All we have to do as women, because there's a lot of strong Black women in this community.
Yes, it is.
And it
Yes,
doesn't
it is.
matter if you're Black or whatever in the community, because I've met several other women of other nationalities and colors that they just want the same thing we went. I met 4 people at Daily Deals today, and they were like, "Hey, I seen you on TV." They live at Hamilton and Weatherby. They know about Dort Elementary, where I went to school at.
Wow.
They live on Weatherby and Martin Luther King, and my grandma's old house is on the corner where we all grew up at Avenue A and Weatherby.
Okay.
And so I was like, hey, I'm recruiting people for cleanup projects. I'm trying to do beautification projects. I wrote 3 grants. I got 1 approved for $8,100. We have a new sign. Well, let me back up. Through Genesee County Land Bank, we have been taking care of this lot and cutting the grass every week for the last 2 years. This will be the 3rd year. But this year I contacted them. I'm like, wait a minute, make this make sense. It's your lot. We're cutting it for you for free, putting weed killer, all that stuff down. I'm paying for it, but I got to pay you $1 a year to lease the property to cut grass for you so we can have a nice spot in the community. So I said, would you be willing to sell it to us? So they sold it to me. I raised $200, and then I put in the other $205, and now it's our property.
That's amazing.
So now I was able to write a grant, 3 grants. One was approved for $8,100, and the sign we have coming, which Heritage Metals Neighborhood Association, they just put at the bottom of it for us in memory of Councilman Eric B. Mays.
Oh, that's
and
wonderful.
we're going to have, and you guys are going to be invited when we get the lot finished. We're having a dedication ceremony.
Oh,
So
nice.
we're working on that. I have 2 more grants I'm waiting on. And then the 3rd one, I got to see if that's still open. But I'm trying to, there's some issues going on with the city of Flint and using their parks, having to have insurance and putting in applications, having to have it approved within 60 days to have your event. So what we need to do as a community is make our own green spaces where we can meet, where we can have, not saying not utilize your parks, but we need to get control of our city again.
Absolutely.
Because
agree.
this has gotten out of hand. There's too many people with doing things they should not be doing. The same people that should be protecting us is hurting us. So now we got to find somebody and figure out a way. Okay, if everybody's hurting us, then how are we going to survive? I made a comment the other day. Why should we have to move out of state to have clean water or safe neighborhoods? You can't walk around the neighborhood without worrying. And they keep saying the shootings down, but you hear gunshots every day.
Girl.
You can't sit. I'm sitting in my backyard trying to eat dinner. They're shooting on the next street. Well, guess what? I don't want to get hit.
Mhm.
So shootings may be down, but lately there's been some more shootings. You know, the officers are short staffed and in my opinion, they're underpaid. And we got to ask, why are the officers leaving? The mayor and them got to ask, why are the officers leaving? You know, so, and then the officers that are there, once they graduate from the academy, they're so short staffed, they're throwing them out on the streets, and then they don't have the proper training.
Mhm.
They need to be with a senior officer for a minute, but your senior officer might have a year himself, a little bit more than a year.
Mhm.
I've talked to several of the officers, and I asked them, and a lot of their attitudes, these new boots, when they get that gun and badge, you know, don't get me wrong, we have some good officers on Flint Police Department and state police in the county. But some of the new officers, when they come out on the street, now you're not going to see that with the sheriff department, in my opinion. State police, we got to tone them down a little bit. But Flint police, we got to work with those officers, because the stuff you see at city council, and then you have the officers that's coming out to cause. I'm not going to call this person's name, but there was a situation where a dog was chasing like 5 or 6 kids. Nobody was helping those kids. I stopped and helped those kids. I waited 2 hours and 47 minutes for Flint Police Department. Everybody called. That dog chased me. So I finally got the kids home, and I waited for that officer. I went and downloaded Ring cameras and wrote out the incident report, witness statement, and called Genesee County Animal Control with them. That officer, when he came out that vehicle, because it was dark by this time, because I don't live right there.
Mhm.
When that officer got out that vehicle, he looked at me and said, "You're so afraid of the damn dog. Why are you standing out here? Why are you still here?" Well, we had what I call a come to Jesus meeting. And I talked to him. We were friends by the time I finished with him. But I told him, I know you did not. I let him finish, but I told him, I know you didn't learn that in the police academy. You don't get out the vehicle talking to a resident like that. I said, I could make you social media famous. I could call the mayor and the chief if anything would have been done. But social media famous, that works best right now.
Mhm.
But when I finished explaining to him, I said, now let me explain something to you. I have waited 2 hours and 45 minutes for you, or 47 minutes. I have went and downloaded, and I have it on my phone, the Ring camera showing this dog chasing these little kids and that 3-year-old. I said, I've called animal control. That dog came after me, and I've gotten all your information you need. And I said, now let me explain something to you. The reason why I knew how to do this, I left my department as a lieutenant. I could have been a major and a captain, but I was a lieutenant. I left as a lieutenant until I got hurt. But you didn't learn that in the police academy. You got to learn how to talk to the residents. You got to let the residents know, not just the police department, the mayor and city council. Residents want to be heard. If you just use your listening skills, if you have them, and just listen to the residents, find out what their problems are, find out what they want, you wouldn't have the people hating you the way you do. And that's a problem. So if you're not, and I said this from day one when I first attended my first council meeting since I've been back, everybody on city council, and including the mayor, if you don't want to do the job, step down and let somebody that want to do it, do it. We all took oaths as elected officials, as officers. You're supposed to serve the residents, and it's not being done. So we have to do it. If you're not, that's why these recalls are coming into play.
Mhm.
And I don't bite my tongue. I had already came to council and said, hey, if you're not going to do your job, then I'm going to personally participate in each recall. And I've been trying to do it the best I can. It's been a kind of hard lately, but Miss Bev and Mr. Terrence and some other individuals, I was only able to help a little bit, but I'm going to get back out there. We still have time. But we need to work on getting our city back, getting people in place. When Jonathan, I stood out in the rain with Miss Bev and them the other day at City Hall, because you know something, I don't personally know Jonathan there, but I watched Councilman Jonathan Jarrett,
Right.
rephrase that. I watched him on 810. I watched him when he speak. You could tell, people could tell if you're observant, you could tell when people serious and when they're not and when they're bullshitting you.
That's why I'm sitting
Okay?
here looking at her now.
You can tell.
Yep.
Yeah, people may think I'm mean at times, but no, I'm not a mean
No,
person.
you're stern.
I'm a very caring and loving person.
Mhm.
And I'll try, and when I make promises, I don't break them. I try and help everybody I can. Sometimes I hurt myself, trying to help other people, but I have to weigh my options. Like with this home repair and improvement program, I said, okay, I'm also a criminal justice student. So I had to say, okay, you're going to get dinged, you're going to get a late penalty, or you can help these people get this $15,000, or you can stay up all night and crash and do all your homework and go stay out there and help them people. Well, guess what? The other day at Mont Park, I got there at 8 o'clock. I didn't leave there till 10:58 that night. But guess what? Residents came from Mount Morris, Beecher, all over Flint because it was open to Genesee County. When I finished helping them, I asked them, hey, can you help me call some of these people? I'm trying to help get people up here so I can help them if we're going to be here this late. 2 young ladies stayed and helped me call people to tell them to come back. And they did. They did. If we don't work together as a community, as women, as men, this is the only way we're going to make this right. We can't live in the past. We can't change what has been done. But everything that's going on now, people have more power than they know. Votes, getting out, making sure you're registered to vote. When I do the recalls, when we have to go to the door and ask the individuals, are you a registered voter at this address? House full of adults with teenagers that have just become 18, 19, and they're not registered to vote. So I'll look over at grandma or mom and dad, you're registered to vote, right? So we got to teach the importance of voting, because not voting can hurt just as bad as voting for the wrong person.
Absolutely.
I always say, and you guys have watched city council, that seen me speak, be careful who you vote for. Do your research, because that shit will not only come back and bite you in the ass, it'll bite all of us in the ass. Look at our council president trying to fight Dennis Pfeiffer walking out, and this was witnessed. It's nothing I'm saying it's not true. Everybody's seen it. Art Woodson, Rich Jones, that was unacceptable, unprofessional. You can't do that. Candace Bouchette that just cussed out Jerry Renfrey Carter. That is unacceptable. There's a way. We don't always have to, how can I say this? I'm this type of person. I'm not going to let my enemy know what I'm doing if I'm planning a war or whatever I'm doing, because the element of surprise can sometimes just blow a person away. Because sometimes people can sit and just keep bullying people, talking shit, threatening people. But guess what? Sometimes 810 media, all that stuff being on video, keep clowning, because you know why? That's called evidence. You're on video making a damn fool out of yourself, threatening people, being unprofessional, ethical violations. There are so many things you are violating as an elected official.
Right.
So guess what? You might want to tone it down a little bit. That's why the residents are coming. That perfect example, Papa Jared, his name was Papa Jared, said it himself. You said it in regards to, I was so glad to see him win. Everybody just knew their favorite person, they were going to have another vote. It didn't happen. And I'm going to tell you now, I think this gentleman is going to do a good job. I think Jan Marie Arbor is going to do a good job. Jan Marie Arbor, and who else? Jan Marie Arbor, and then I thought it was one more person.
Jan Marie.
Well, we got one down. Okay, so Jan Marie, Jonathan, and then the first ward.
The first ward. She think about. She's like, who's the next person?
I knew it was who these other people coming?
I know it was 3, but I forgot the election was just had.
Right,
but we gonna get it. We gonna get it.
So I'm gonna ask you your next question, and what we gonna do? We gonna time it, because this show go fast.
Yeah.
Mickey in the house still?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Shouts out to ATN News Media Group and the greatest in the world.
Yes.
Spacely Sprocket. We got to give it up for old Spacely. Old Spacely himself. That's right. Go ahead, Ana.
Okay. So my next question is, how can we include women leaders that are moms and balance their time? So I know that you're a mom. What is an example? How would you be able to balance your time?
One, you need to have a planner, because there's things that's going to be forgotten. But as women trying to plan things and accomplish things, sometimes if we just work together, we can accomplish so much more. If you can't take your child to school, then ask that mom. That mom's going to need a babysitter, a night out. Then guess what? The other mom's going to need a night out. Don't charge that mom. If you know that mom and we start a good group, support group, a committee group, whatever we want to call it, it still could be an extension of Sister Circle. You know, women in Flint need to come together and try and make a change. We can do it.
Right, we
We can
can.
do it, but we just got to work together. We got to have a place to meet, and we got to meet and make sure we meet and make sure we show up at the meetings, because that's going to be your support base right there. So if we could get that started, we can accomplish a lot. We could be doing cleanup projects. We can be doing Mother's Day barbecue picnics. There's so many different things we could plan, and it'll grow.
We
will
do have a
grow.
lot of strong-willed
Yeah.
women in the city.
And we just need to come together and make a committee and plan it. And I'll volunteer to do it and help.
You can't do everything, Miss
Hey,
Rose.
that's why
You
you
trying,
plan.
but
That's why you plan.
you
I already
trying.
have, like right now. We said we was gonna plan some type of major barbecue. We plan it all. I do stuff a year in advance. I put it on the calendar and we just do it.
Mhm.
You can't think about something's a problem. You can't do it. You just got to figure out how you can do it.
Absolutely.
So that's how I do it anyways.
Okay. I have a.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so I have a question for you. With your military back,
Oh no, law enforcement.
law enforcement,
military.
excuse me. Let me get it right. With your
Yeah.
law enforcement background, and looking at just the city as a whole, how do you think you would be able, as a person, to kind of calm things down or help bring the city together
Okay.
as a woman
Mhm.
with a law enforcement background? Do you think you were disciplined in a different way than
Right.
a lot of people were going into law enforcement? How do you think that'll help you?
Well, I think from my standpoint, as far as how the city, I want to help the Flint Police Department. We need to have more training for them. They're talking about, a while back recently, they were talking about going out of town for training. And I'm not trying to ruin y'all vacation, but we have the University of Michigan, we have Mont Community College here. When the training they have, they could develop their own program. One of the instructors at Mott Community College or the University of Michigan, I'm quite sure if they asked one of those entities, they would actually help them to develop a curriculum where the officers could go over there and
Mhm.
receive the training and receive certification, where they wouldn't have to go out of state. They wouldn't have to spend all that money. Now they might have to send one or two officers out of state if God forbid, if the University of Michigan or Mott Community College wouldn't do it, then you could send one or two lieutenants, because normally at the police academy you have to be a lieutenant or above to teach. So two of those individuals from the department, in case one was sick or something happened, could be sent to get certified to do certain training, and they could do it. The worst thing they could have did was gotten rid of their own police academy. But what what I could do, as far as helping them develop programs, interpersonal communication classes, if they needed more, they go through the police academy. But I don't know what type of annual training they're going through, but there's certain training they should be required to go through. And I'm not familiar with their process, so I'm not knocking the Flint Police Department, but there's a bad apple in every group. And sometimes we need to evaluate who's the bad apple, because they are what I call a walking lawsuit waiting to happen. And if they're not doing their job, they don't need to be there. If they are abusing their rights, well, let me rephrase this. If they are violating the citizens' rights, they can not only be sued, charged criminally as a law enforcement officer, they can be sued civilly. And I have mentioned to some of the officers, hey, you got that 401k, or you got that savings, your house, your kids' college tuition. You don't want to lose that because certain people are weaponizing the police against the residents. You're doing, right from wrong. And yes, I was told, and I'm not going to call a name, but I was told that, I said, wait a minute. My question was, why do you not arrest the city council members for being disorderly? Well, we're trying to let them get the business of the city done. Bullshit. They're trying to fight each other. They're
Wait a
trying
minute, give me 1 second. Bullshit. That's the word tonight. Bullshit.
to
Take a drink every time you hear bullshit.
you are watching them threaten the citizens. You can't, freedom of speech, handcuffing. And the incident with Miss Elizabeth Taylor, oh my God, if that's not a lawsuit, it should be. I'm not a lawyer, but somebody need to think about that one.
How do you think, Miss Rose? Why are you talking about this? And I didn't mean to cut
Oh
you
no,
off,
it's
but this
okay.
how we doing,
No,
Sister
it's
Circle. We just
okay.
jump
Go
in and
ahead.
talk.
Yeah.
Your discipline. Do you think that'll help you if you were to be selected for that first ward council seat? Because we don't, like you said, nobody can fill Eric May's shoes. Eric
Right.
was his own person.
Right.
Eric did things his own way. We don't need a copycat style of
Right.
loud, blah, 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 blah. How, do you?
Dennis Pfeiffer, Councilman Dennis Pfeiffer asked us that question at the interview. What it was a couple of us, I think it was 3 of us or 4 of us maybe. What could we bring to the city council? And I stated my answer was, well, as a former law enforcement officer, I said, you guys need interpersonal communication skills. You know, these incidents, the situations. I had made the comment. It was it was about the incident, and I said that incident should have never happened. That some people should have been arrested for disorderly. I said, if I see a situation about to happen, even though we always we may not like each other, but we can agree to disagree, but at least respect each other and each other's position that we're all supposedly trying to do what's in the best interest of the residents. That shit don't need to be aired in front of all the residents. If you don't like somebody, keep it yourself. You still have to be professional because people will lose respect from you for you. But with me, if I was on city council, I told him, I said, I would try and diffuse situations before they happen. And if I got a problem with somebody, I will come up to them and say, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? I'm not going to try and embarrass you and blast you out while we're out there in front of all the residents and the media. That's not appropriate. It's not professional. So I would try and talk to them, some individuals. But you have some individuals that's crazy as hell. And, you can't, some people just stuck on stupid. So you can't change that. It's only going to come with recall. So you have to remove those individuals out of the equation and put a person there that's going to do what they're supposed to do. So with me being on city council, if it's not about the residents, I'm not voting yes. If I had my way, that 40 something million, it would be divided up and figured out how much money we could give each resident for home repair and improvement. There's going back to the ARPA dollars, for instance, those applications have been sitting on G-Card, Metro Community Development, and Habitat Humanity since March of 2023. Metro have given 2 programs now, 10,000 last year and 15 this year, because I helped people last year. They are still holding the ARPA dollars. That's all still screwed up. So the other day I was told they're trying to work it out. Well, you need to work faster. It's not that damn difficult.
Right.
So my thing is, if I was on city council, city council need to have their own grant writers to look for money for the residents. We need to have our own group committee to do activities to keep, teach people how to utilize their leisure time. I applaud you for going to the Genesee County jail and doing that interview, because a lot of people are forgotten. And what some people don't realize, people are incarcerated. There are people that are incarcerated for stuff they didn't even do.
That's right.
I have, as a former investigator, I have proven people, when you arrest somebody or a situation happened, you have to write it up and investigate it. An officer is supposed to remain neutral and prove either they did or didn't do it. You have to have compassion. I have proven people were lied on and it never should have happened. They never should have been incarcerated. People have been released. And one thing that everybody must remember as law enforcement and residents, is not our place to judge. It's God's place to judge. Majority of the people that become law enforcement officers is because they want to help the community. But you have, like I mentioned before, you have a bad apple in every group. But going back to city council, what can I bring? I would like to see the city council members attend training also, not just law enforcement. They have lost their people skills. They have, some of them, I'm not going to say all of them, some of them are fighting for us, but then there's some that have their own little agenda. So we have to figure out a way to get that under control, because being observant from the outside coming in 2021 and watching this, it's only getting worse. Each year is getting worse. So we got to figure out how to stop this and correct the problems.
All right.
So we're going to try.
Okay. Ana, ball back to you.
Okay. She done hit on a lot of things.
I know she has. I'm listening now. When you catch me in Ana's attention,
I'm listening. And,
I've been listening
a lot out of it, because you dropping you dropping things that need to be said and need to be heard,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, the community wants to know who possibly will be running in a certain ward.
Abs-
So my next question is, what advice would you give yourself to your 25-year-old self?
To my 25-year-old self, start being more involved in politics. I was involved in politics to a point because of my position, but I would have learned more. I would have learned more and tried to figure out how I could help and do more then. And it would have helped even more people. Because if you don't know what's going on and try and figure out, a lot of people made the comments that I write a lot. Yes, I write a lot because the reason why, I listen to people. I try and figure out a way to fix problems. So if I was 25 years old again, I would definitely would have started politics more. I feel like I would have been able to do more for the residents than just being an officer being sent out. I did a lot. I'm not gonna bash myself because I know
Mhm.
I did a lot
Right.
and I'm a caring, loving person. But I feel like if I was involved in politics, I would have known about more grants. I could have did more. And that's the only thing I fought myself. That's one of the reasons why I started going back to school in 2022, because I want to get my law degree. Eventually, I'm gonna
Oh
get my
no.
degree in criminal justice, but we need good lawyers.
Absolutely, we do.
So I'm like, okay, I just want that degree. I can still have it long as my license was with a firm,
Mhm.
but it's a conflict if you do certain things. But I've learned so much while I was in school since 2022 to help the city of Flint. That's where I got a lot of this information too. My professors are all over the United States. When I see a problem in Flint, I was like, hey, what are you guys doing in your city? When I see them write in discussion posts, I'm like, hey, we have this problem in our city. Can you help us?
See,
So I wish I
that's a
would have
good one.
gotten involved more in politics. I'm 57. I'll be 58 December 22nd. And I'm like, okay, if I was, like you said, 25 again, doing this now, doing it at 25, oh, we would have had a lot. Everybody would have had a free roof, a furnace, a
Right.
hot water tank. I want fences around yards, whatever they need, you know.
Well, Anna, what would you have told your 25-year-old self?
Yeah.
I'm
It's,
curious
it's
to know.
funny that she's, boy, God is just amazing. I'm sorry. Like, first of all, at 25, I wanted to be a councilman. I wanted to be in politics. I was at Morgan State University. I wanted to, so I wanted to study law and politics, be an attorney, but not to be an attorney for the criminal justice, but to know the law. So when I got into politics, I knew the law, because when you're a council person, you really need to know the law. You
Right.
really need to know policy, and you really need to know.
Robert's rules.
And I live in the nation's capital, so I'm surrounded by this. But my 25-year-old, but I was raised, you got to be married.
Right. You always say that. Yeah.
Yes. So
That's
I
your
got married and stopped going to college at Morgan State University for political science, because that's what I wanted, political science, and then get my law degree. So I'm in school. You know what I mean? That was a long time ago. I'm a full-time student. I go to Catholic University.
Okay.
We're 9 years and something months apart, but I know people that are 70 and 80 and still getting their degrees. So your time is not up. Your time is never up. We might have not did it when we was 25, but that doesn't mean your clock is over, because if God wakes you up and your eyes open up, he still has work for you to do. And that's how I look at every day. If I wake up, I know that he still has something for me to do.
I just want to know what you
I just seen something pop up while I was watching her.
Okay.
About law enforcement being different from politics.
Mhm.
I gotta elaborate on that a little bit. If you do your history of law enforcement, it used to be, and it still is in certain places, really political. The unions, what do you call it? The unions, and then oh God, I'm having a brain fart here. But anyway, if you do your history, politics was running law enforcement at one part. And then that's when the union and laws and policies and procedures came into place. So people's rights weren't being violated. Far as African Americans, their rights were being violated. We talk about canine dogs are great. Canine dogs are great, but you don't use them against the residents in certain situations because when you got to remember, in law enforcement, you have a uniform. Some people are fearing that uniform. You got to make sure you introduce yourself. I'm not saying kiss ass or whatever, or, you got to go up and just hug people or whatever in your uniform. But what I'm saying is you got to have people skills. You got to be able to talk to them. Back in the day, like I said, if you go back and look at the history of law enforcement, it was really political. There was individuals, there were, what do you call the people who had these not gangs, mm,
Mafia.
mafia.
Okay.
The mafia. I'm not gonna remember the
Mafia.
word for a minute.
You just look at
Mafia was
Mickey, you
running.
think about the mafia.
Mafia was running law enforcement
Mafia
at one
Mick.
point. You'd be surprised. And you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised, even in the prison system, they will have people go through the police academy that's in gangs to get drugs and different things in. So you got to look at the history. Go back and research history of law enforcement. It was political. And even as a police officer, you're doing what the mayor and certain people, councilmen or women or whoever, want you to do. That's political.
Right.
You got to make sure you know right from wrong. Bottom line is, as an officer, you got to know right from wrong. And you got to say, hey, maybe this position is not for me. Transfer me someplace else.
Well, to switch it back around, Miss Rose, a little bit. When we think about our community here in Flint, and you've been all over the city.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think we, as even though we have a abundance overload of strong-minded women here in the community, but what do you think a lot of our young women are missing here in Flint?
I think some guidance, training. Some teenagers and kids have raised themselves. They're seeing certain things go on in homes, and they think that's the norm. We need more. When I went to school in 7th grade at Longfellow and at Northern, they had home ec. They had different training, teaching people how to manage their money, teaching them how to cook, not giving somebody a piggy bank and giving them so much. We got to make sure that these kids have the proper training. That's good, but most kids are going to take that $5, $10 and go spend it on some candy or whatever they want. But we need to put back certain Clack talks about it. Michael Clack talks about it all the time. We need those training back. Kids need to learn how to swim. They need driver's training bad. We need the cooking skills. We need Carol just had a show, and I only got to see part of it, but Carol McIntosh did a show with a young lady that was talking about sewing. And I've heard them mention Joanne Fabrics and doing certain things with kids. We need that stuff back. Those are the things that's going to help people survive. They need training. So if something was to happen to their parents, or parents was taken out of the equation, that kid needs the motivation. The young women need the motivation. Young women need to know that they are respected by men. They don't have to take a lot of the stuff they do. You don't have to have, and I'm not knocking anybody, and I'm not bashing or knocking men, but I was always told it's all right to be married and be in a relationship, but make sure you're able to take care of yourself. Because if you are always at home and having kids, if that person went, the father or whoever, boyfriend, husband, fiance, left out the picture, would you be able to take care of yourself? You always got to make sure. It takes 2 incomes. Times have changed. It takes almost 2 incomes to make it. Single moms, I'm a single mom. You struggle. You got to get it done. You sacrifice for your kids. So we need to teach our young ladies to be more independent. If you need to build up your bank account, have your own emergency fund. If something happened, you have something to carry you 6 months until you get on your feet, because you just lost this income. But the main thing, you need to make sure you give respect, but you need to receive. Men want respect. Women got to make sure they get that respect back, because a lot of women tolerate things because they feel, oh, I don't want to lose them. Nobody else wants me. No, every woman is beautiful. You can do it. You got somebody you could talk to. That's why I said we need a support. I love Sister Circle. We need to actually form a group somewhere. And I know Hasselbring and some of them will let us do it. A spot to meet. It's a community place.
Sometimes you just need to be uplifted.
Yeah.
When Ana and I talk a lot, sometimes it's just nothing more than it's gonna be okay.
Yep.
You can make it.
This is today. We just have to get through today, and tomorrow's a different day. And that's why when things happen, things happen to everybody every day. But another thing people need to start doing, if I see you, how are you doing? Is everything okay? You need any help with anything?
We've gotten scared
People,
to engage. Don't you think
yeah,
so, Anna? We've gotten scared to just
right.
say hi.
If you see a mom struggling, if you're at McDonald's and her kids is cutting up, I did this plenty of time, and I know other people that have done it too. If that mom is sitting there and got some kids, she's trying to take them out, and I'm not gonna call a name. I know somebody that has 3 kids and they're struggling. The babies lost their father; he was killed here in Flint, and I invited them to come to a couple events. She left one of my events because I'm like, why? She didn't go out because the kids, they don't listen to her sometime. Most of the time she feels. And I went over and I said, "Hey, Aunt Rose, I'm Aunt Rose. Sit your butt down. I'm gonna go make you a plate. If your mama have to speak to you one more time, you gonna talk to Aunt Rose." I said, "You want some cupcakes? Guess what? You're not getting those cupcakes until you sit up here and eat all this food. And if you keep screaming and yelling at your mama, you yell at your mama one more time. And guess what? Them 3 kids sit there and they wanted them cupcakes.
She probably wanted to take you home with
That
her.
mom, but that was the first time. But the second time she got up and left because she didn't want to embarrass me. And I called her later. I'm like, "Where did she go?" And somebody told me the kids was cutting up. She said she got to go. It was embarrassing. I called her up and I told her, when I have an event and I'm paying for that event, you don't leave. You don't leave. I'll come and talk to your kids again. They need to be out among people because that's how everybody help you.
Right.
So she's been doing it more now, and I'm proud of her.
That's
But
good.
we need to do that more. If you at a restaurant and you see a single mom sitting over their kids, let your food get cold for a minute. Take it home. Sit over there and hold that baby and let that mom eat. We gotta, like you said, uplift people more. If that woman over there, she gotta need her. For example, I do it all the time. I did 3 yards last week. My knees is killing me. They bad. But the senior, she 88 years old. She can't go out there and cut her grass. Hell, my knees is bad, but I wouldn't cut it.
Right.
I cut 3 of them because you see one cut, and then you see, might as well do it. And I was tired, but we got to help each other. So that's all we got to do. Our seniors, we have to look out for our seniors. This particular singer that I'm speaking about, she's 80, 88, 89. She can get around good. She can cuss you out good, but guess what? She has no family to take care of her. She's been there since I was a kid. And I have the utmost respect for her because she's like my grandma. And we all take care of her. But you know something? God has already blessed me. You just don't know. This is one of the reasons why I do this. You guys, some of you don't know this, but I told you I'm diabetic and I have neuropathy and I have high blood pressure and certain things. But when I just became diabetic in 2018, in the midst of me getting attacked by a prisoner, that's why I walk funny. I had bad headaches. I thought I had a brain tumor. Come to find out I was diabetic. The blood vessels burst behind my eyes and I went blind. And it took almost 6 months to get my vision back. But guess what? God gave me my vision back.
And it's much clearer now, isn't it?
Yes, it's much clearer. That pink on that shirt is much clearer now that my diabetes is under control now.
But I'm not just talking about your physical vision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vision
Yes.
is much clearer.
That
now.
is the reason why I will take a shower and pass out when I go cut 3 people's yards, or I go do a cleanup project, or I go volunteer and do whatever. Because you know something? God told me, y'all may think I'm crazy, but I've got some Indian in me. But God told me, I'm going to always look. I've had cancer scares. I've had other stuff. But guess what? As long as you remain true to God and you believe in him and have faith, guess what? He going to be there for you when nobody else will. But he was there for me. And now that he was there for me, I always did stuff, but I do more now because God said, I need you to be my messenger and you're on the earth. I need you to go help this person. Everybody's not going to be religious. Try and get them just to do the right thing. So guide them a little bit. And as long as you're not in the wrong, you will be okay. I'm going to take care of you. And God took care of me. You know, God took care of me. He's going to continue to take care of me. He's blessed me with my 7 grandkids. My kids are healthy. So my thing is that as long as I'm doing the right thing, and that's why
I'm cutting onions. Help. I ain't crying.
That's why I want to help with city council. You know, I'm like, well, hey, Councilman Mays passed away. I can't fill his shoes, but I can try and pick up where he left off and try and do everything I can. I'm not perfect. I'm human like everybody else. But guess what? I'm not going to change. Once I become a council member, and like I said before, y'all don't have to recall me. If y'all don't feel I'm doing my job, and if I know I'm wrong, I will step down. But guess what? I'm going to fight like hell for you while I'm there. The general fund money and every other dollar I can get for your roof, your house, because the city's falling apart. So we got to do what we got to do. We got to work together. And I can't do everything by myself, you guys. I need your help. I need the city of Flint residents' help. God forbid I don't get city council, because the residents and God gonna put whoever in that seat that he feels need to be in there.
Yeah.
We just got to remember the shady shit equation is there, but we got to work around that, and we can do it by doing the right thing. But we still all need to work together to get our city back the way it should be.
You're
We
right.
need to do that, you guys.
Anna, go ahead
I'm
and
gonna hit you with this last question.
take us on out, Anna.
If there was, and this is a two-part. This is a two-part.
James said, if I disappoint him, he gonna recall me.
Uh-uh.
He helped me get signatures. Quincy and Adele. Okay, James.
So it says, if there was one thing you could keep, or one thing you can change in your neighborhood, what would it be? So one thing you would keep in Ward 1 and one thing you would change in Ward 1.
One thing I would keep. Oh God. Ward 1 just needs so much help. I'm the type of person, I fight for Ward 1, but I'd rather fight for the whole city, because we all need help. So I can't say, to be honest, I'm just being honest with you. I can't just say just first ward. I'm gonna fight like hell for everybody, because why would
I know what you could keep, Miss Rose.
What?
You could keep them people over there in the first ward, because they need somebody like you.
Yeah, that's true. Like I said, I gotta help, because everybody's forgotten about the first ward.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta help first ward first.
You hit on it. You hit on
it.
Huh?
Yeah.
You hit on where I was.
Well, yeah. That's
the fact that Flint is being gentrified.
Oh, yeah.
I would have said I would want to keep the original, the people that been there for years.
Oh, yeah. Our seniors, our history over there, that's where I get my answers from. I go to the seniors. They remember how it used to be, so you got to get that knowledge out of those seniors, because they are excited. If you got something going on in the first ward, they are excited. They want help. They want change. So thinking about it, I would keep my seniors, keep the houses. I went and Googled, not Google, but I went on the tax site. There's a lot of individuals in the first ward that have one person owes $7,000 in back taxes. Wow. I need to help. If I'm going to do anything, Anna, I need to help people keep their houses. Mm-hmm. I would have to say that. That's why I'm looking for grant money to help pay the water bills and back taxes. Because if they lose their house and the city trying to put liens on them, I got to help them keep their houses in the first ward.
You can write to your congressman, because there is programs, because a lot of people, they say they owe taxes. This is off note. Mm-hmm. They'll say they owe taxes, but if you go back and see how they did their taxes or who helped them with their taxes, you can find some way to fix what is really owed and what is not owed, because people just go anywhere and get their taxes done. Mm-hmm. And they don't have
I meant property tax. I'm sorry.
Property taxes. Yeah.
I should have rephrased that. It's property tax. They owe one person owes $7,000, one person owes $6,000, and they can't pay it. And I don't want them, after that bundle packet happened, we can't let these people lose their houses anymore. Mm. We can't let liens get on their houses because they have a high water bill. A lady contacted me yesterday, and she stated that Councilman Mays passed away, and she called another council person, and they came out, and it's been 2 months. Her water bill is a single 90-something-year-old woman. Her water bill is $190 a month, and she owes $2,000.
Sherry Allen.
So we got to help them.
She a big supporter, Miss
Rose.
Sherry
Allen. Yes, I love Sherry Allen. She helps.
Sabrina Gibson said she's been in her house for over 46 years.
Oh, generational home.
We need to keep make sure she stay there. And if she needs help, we need to help her. We can all help each other in the first ward. You said one thing I would keep and one thing I would change.
Now, what was the second part?
Yeah. So one thing you would keep, and then one thing you would get. Well, it's basically like saying I would get rid of.
get rid of. Um, get rid of people losing their home, get rid of all that blight, get rid of all those burned out houses. We would rebuild the block and try and help people become homeowners and build the blocks back. Because they're tearing it down, but there's no plan in place other than selling it the vacant lot to an adjacent homeowner for 25,000. We need to start trying to figure out money to get those houses built back and make them reasonable for single parents or families, period.
$25, right?
25. No, I'm sorry. $25.
Okay.
$25 to purchase the lots. And if, like, for instance, the lot I purchased, they charged me $325 and there's a $75 processing fee. But we need to rebuild those lots. We need to make sure. One thing I got to learn to see if the title searches are done properly. Land bank owned the property, but we got to make sure we don't build a house on that property. Then somebody come back and say, this was my granddaddy's property.
Right.
So there's things we need to work out, but as we are tearing down, we need to rebuild, or we're going to have a whole city like some cross Saginaw Street. And I cry, you go down 2, 3, 4 blocks and there's one house here and one house down there.
Right.
We need to rebuild and rebuild in the first ward.
Well, did you have anything else?
One last thing.
Okay.
Because a lot of the things we've been talking about is to help the adults. What one thing you would do in a leadership role to help our youth?
Help our youth. We need to teach them how to utilize their time more. There's, like I said before, too many kids that are raising themselves, and it's not always negative. Far as the house is a drug house, uncle, whoever's selling drug or daddy selling drugs. Sometimes there's a single mom or a mom and dad that's barely making it and got to go to work, and they're working 1 and 2 jobs, and the kids are basically raising themselves from 9 years old or 10, because the law states that a kid can stay home if the parent, at whatever age, if the parent feels they're responsible enough to call 911 and be responsible. I don't personally agree with that, but sometimes there's situations where a parent don't have any choice but to go to work and work 2 jobs, especially a single mom or a single dad. So we need to do more as far as community centers. There was a place, City of Hope, is it?
Center of Hope.
Center of Hope.
Yep.
They were trying to get the old Stewart school, abandoned closed school, and they were asking the Board of Education for it. They want to turn it into a community center. We need to have a community
that was
center.
over there on the south side.
Yes,
The south.
City of
What was
Hope.
the name? Was
What's
it
the name
City
of
of Circle of Hope?
Something like that.
South side. When we went over to the,
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah,
They came to city council.
we went to, we did cover that. Yeah.
They went to city council that night. Then they went to the Board of Education, and I actually went to speak to a public speaking for Board of Education for them. We need to have community centers in certain areas, and we need people to teach. If we can't do it in the schools, then we need to figure out how to do it another way. We can have home ec, we can have whatever. Auto shop. I'm not good with sewing, but I'm damn good with changing tires, working on engines. My first car at 12 was a 1971 Chevy Nova. For those who went to Northern, you remember Mr. Ewing and Mr. Johnson. Okay. Small engines and automotive 1 and 2. Oh, that's right. I forgive you. I will pray for you. But anyway, Mr. Ewing and Mr. Johnson, he was my automotive 1 and 2 instructors, and small engines. Mr. Ewing taught that too. But they taught me how to do a lot. I was working on cars because of my uncles, the Verdons, at 12 years old. So there was not a lot of girls in the family. So we had to learn how to ride dirt bikes and stuff. I still have my motorcycle license today. Wow. So my thing is, we need to teach kids. I made sure when I got married, hey, I know how to take a chainsaw and cut down a tree. I know how to go work. When I wanted to take my kids to Magic Kingdom when they were little, me and my husband were both working. But guess what? We live in paycheck to paycheck like most people. So I got a second job at Dunkin' Donuts that used to be on Door Highway while I was working for the DNR. I worked midnights while they were asleep. But hey, we just got to figure it out. But if we work together, there is nothing that we can't do. But if we don't come together, that's the biggest problem. A lot of people, and I feel your pain. I know people are tired, and some said, you just got here. You just came here in 2021.
It don't matter.
But it don't matter. Me coming here in 2021 from the outside looking in, no, keep your faith. Don't lose your faith. Change is coming, but we just got to work together. I can't do everything by myself. Like Wyntis said, I'll sure in the hell try. But guess what? I don't want to make myself sick doing everything. There's so many things I want to do for the city of Flint. So, but I'm planning on, right now, we're in the process of doing it now. We were in the process of doing it with Councilman Mays. First ward, city within the city. We'll have our own little White House if we have to. And guess what? Like I said, Councilman Mays was going to be Mayor Eric B. Mays. So we're going to have our city within the city, and we're going to rebuild the first ward. And then people going to want to move to first ward.
And I'll let Anna close out. I
Mhm.
just want to say this, Miss Rose, it's been a pleasure having you here tonight.
Thank you.
One thing that you really touched me when you said you bought the lot. I would love for you to start encouraging, as you're out there, encouraging younger people to buy the block back.
Oh, yeah.
If they see a vacant lot, if you go get on the house, go up to a house and it's a vacant lot, if it's on, we got to start encouraging each other, especially a lot of younger people, older people, middle class, whatever. We got to start buying our land back.
You'd be surprised how many young people, and I was so proud of them. I was so proud of them. They purchased a home through Genesee County Land Bank, even though got a skylight coming through the house because the roof caved in a little bit. But guess what? That's why they wanted to apply for these home repair and improvement programs. There's a couple out there right now with 5 kids, and this one almost made me cry. They own a home. They bought from Genesee County Land Bank. They're trying to get it fixed. They've been doing certain stuff themselves. They're paying for rent. They're trying to get help to get this house fixed because they are a homeowner, but they need help. But there was a lot of young people that came to the home repair and improvement that purchased homes. So they're doing it. We just need to encourage more of it.
That's right.
The main thing, another main point before you close out, we need to look for resources and get them out to the community, because what I'm learning since 2021, people aren't advertising more enough. Websites are wrong and not proper information or wrong information. We need to get those resources out there to the entire community, especially the first ward, because they really need help.
Okay. Before I turn it over to you, Anna, Miss Rose, what you got coming up tomorrow?
Oh, my official announcement that I'm a candidate for the first ward fundraiser dinner that's going to be at Mont Park Clubhouse. It's going to start at 2:00. The official announcement is going to be at 3:00, and I'm going to let it go until 9:00. The tickets are $40. And we're working on getting our campaign headquarters, but there will be plenty of food. Miss Sherry Allen is assisting me also with the menu, her famous mac and cheese and spaghetti salad. We have people bringing the green beans. We have meatballs. We have 200 wings and chicken, and we have something for everybody.
That's good.
So if you can stop by, I'm going to have a backdrop set up, a flag, and we're going to take pictures. So if you can, stop by tomorrow. And thank you to everybody that has been helping me and supporting me.
That's beautiful. All right, Anna, take us on home.
That's how you know me and Wyntis think the same, because I had pulled up your flyer just in case you got to say it. But Wyntis, I need you to give what is next this weekend, like what's going on Saturday, what's going on Sunday with 810 News Media Group.
Well, later tonight, okay. Well, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., we have Tanya Burns, Councilwoman Tanya Burns will be on at 10 o'clock. So we definitely got to catch that show so we can, I thought she was putting up her finger. We got to catch that show so that we can learn what's going on with City Council.
She is so knowledgeable.
Sunday at 5 o'clock, Sister Audrey, we cannot forget about our sister. She gives us a lot of helpful hints on Sunday. And then, of course, Monday morning.
Clubhouse Saturday.
Forgot about the clubhouse. We call it the trap. It's the trap, because sometimes it can be a trap house. You got to find your way up out of there sometimes. You got to push that little button and say, leave quietly. You got to ease out of the trap. But don't forget, tomorrow night about 7:15, 7:30, we'll be in the trap house. And we'll have our DJ. He'll be going to about 8, 8:15, 8:30. Depends on how we like it. And then we're trying to shut it down a little bit early so everybody gets some sleep, so it'll be closed and winding down between 11:30. So that's what's coming up for 8:10. And then Monday morning we'll be bumping again.
I gotta make sure I get that. Can I say one more thing before she close out right quick? You guys, I'm about the most approachable person. I don't get mad if you call my phone every day if you got a problem. If you see me and you need help, my phone number, okay, if it's okay if I give them my number. My cell phone number is area code 810-247-8681. Again, it's 810-247-8681. If you need help, I will try my best to help you. If I can't, I'll try and direct you in the right direction. So please feel, if you need help, I'm trying to help as much as I can. But sometimes if you don't know what the problem is, that's why we need to know what is needed and what the residents want. But if you got a problem, please call me.
Thank you so much, Ana. Back to you, dear.
Remember Mother's Day. Remember on Sunday. Say Happy Mother's Day to anyone, because we don't know. We don't know who played a part. But all I have to say is just love on each other. And Sister Circle is real. It's a circle that's built on love.
Yes.
Yes, it
And
is.
if you come for me, I am very blunt. I'm not there to fight you, but I am going to advocate for myself. That is Ana, and Ana speaks for herself. On that note, peace.